Hello there guys, thanks as always for passing by the channel, much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Don't forget as well please to like and share the videos. Welcome back to another video. This is just me going to be rounding up the weekend's actions in the boxing world. So just a couple of things to go through really. First up, the England-Wales game yesterday. Okay, in the Six Nations, the worst refereeing I have ever seen in a rugby match. I don't even know what he was doing. Illegal tries, foul knock-ons, constant penalties. That was a disgrace. That referee needs to be investigated because that was a shocking result. I know I'm a fan of England, but even if that was just a genuine rugby game, that was an absolute disgrace and shouldn't be happening. Rugby is a sport known for good decision making, and it's let itself down with that. So I just needed to get that off my chest. Another thing which I didn't mention, I was going to mention in my preview the other day, was Joseph Parker Jr. Farr fight. I had it written down, but I just completely forgot to talk about it. But then again, it probably wasn't really worth a preview because the only thing to really say about that fight was how disappointing it was. I woke myself up early in the morning. I think it was on at like 8 o'clock. But to be honest, I'm glad I didn't really talk about it in a preview because that fight was awful. A couple of good moments here and there, the odd good punch thrown or landing from both, but for the most part, that fight was a stinker. Really was. They spent more time in a clutch hugging than doing any actual boxing. And also, the scorecards. I mean, I had Junior Farr winning the fight. Some said it was a draw, which I could see why you'd give that. But I don't think Parker won, not enough for me anyway. And the judge who scored it, 119 to 109 in favour of Parker, I mean, that's just nothing short of a disgrace as well. And I'm sorry, but that just screams corruption for me. That just screams corruption because clearly Matchroom were planning on making Joseph Parker versus Derek Chisora, and they just wanted to get him a win here to keep him busy. So, I don't know. Parker's stock has gone down massively for me. When I look at what he did against AJ and how he seemed scared to engage, he went down. The loss to Dylan White, where all of a sudden in the final round he managed to get a knockdown. If he'd done that previously in the fight, he could have won. And then just after that, I'm not overly. I've always had Joseph Parker as kind of like a top 10 fighter, like maybe 8, 9, 10, but now I don't even think he comes into that bracket. And I'm extra disappointed because that was a big fight down in New Zealand between two very popular fighters. They're both from Auckland, and I love New Zealand as a country. I love New Zealand, and I want to see boxing grow down there. And this was an opportunity for it to thrive, but it just didn't deliver. It really just didn't deliver. That's why I think that's what annoys me the most. Is this was a chance to get that region of boxing, help it grow in that area. And it's just a real shame. And they're probably going to announce Joseph Parker versus Derek Chisora any day now, which will be mildly interesting. But I have to say, I'll favour Del Boy in that fight after the way Joseph Parker was on that one. Like, Parker may have won the fight, but there's one person who definitely didn't win. The fans. Thoroughly disappointed. But anyway, we move on. Another fight which kind of the main one this weekend, which wasn't exciting as it could have been really, was Canelo versus Avni Yildirim. Canelo took care of business very well. I noticed that Yildirim tried to touch gloves at the start of the fight before the first bell went, but Canelo was having none of it. He just wanted to crack on, get this over with, which shows you like kind of what kind of mentality he was in. Like, he just wanted to get that guy out of there because he's just in fight mode, kill mode at the moment. As soon as Yildirim felt that power in the first round, he froze, literally froze, and he didn't know what to do. He was stiff, he didn't throw anything back, apart from the odd little jab, which didn't even seem to bother Canelo. More like, when a fly's bothering you and you just kind of do that and wave it off. It just seemed a bit like that. Canelo put him down with a lovely 1-2 combination in the third round. And after that, Yildirim did even less. He just covered up, threw nothing back. So Canelo was just able to tee off on him, easy. He went to the body, he went above, and it was just a case of Yildirim. He just looked a bit like a punching bag, So yeah, not the greatest of fights for Canelo, really, especially what we've seen recently. Particularly that Callum Smith fight where he really kind of showed how good he was and how he can thrive at 168. But having said that, you can't be too upset or annoyed at this fight because it was kind of a foregone conclusion, as I said. I thought Canelo would win. We all knew he was going to win just because of how many levels he was above Yildirim. A lot of people online, I noticed, especially on Twitter, were upset with Yildirim's performance, and I can see why. Personally, I'm not too bothered about it because it was Canelo's mandatory after all, and he's only really fighting them because the WBC are kind of making him fight. They made Yildirim number one, and as I said in the preview, if there's anyone who deserves and has done enough for me recently to warrant having a gimme fight like this, it's Canelo. I mean, especially after all the guys he's fought recently. I think personally it reveals a bit more about the WBC rankings than anything else, and just how poor they are at organising their rankings and the fighters they choose for their number one. So yeah, I mean, it was all right to watch. The undercard was pretty entertaining enough. I didn't get to watch it until this morning because it was on so late last night. I just fell asleep. It was just one of those time zone thingies. So but overall, what I will say is, well done to Canelo. Another victory in the bag. And I just want to say, he's such a great fighter and a joy to watch. Beautiful punch variation and punch selection. He really is the best out there, and pound for pound number one easily for me. See, that's the thing. Even in a fight where the opponent is as poor as this, Canelo shines. Shines. Not just in the ring, but the event itself. They had a few other fighters. I noticed Jorge Masvidal was there, a fellow kind of Latin American. It really was kind of despite it not being the most entertaining fight, it was still enjoyable just to see some boxing, So I'm not gonna complain at all. Plus, straight after this fight, Eddie Hearn announced that Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders will be happening on the 8th of May for the unified 168-pound belts, obviously because Billy Joe Saunders has the WBO belt. Now that is going to be a good fight. I'm very interested to see how that goes, because some people think that Billy Joe is the one to bring down Canelo. I mean, I'm not convinced myself, personally. I used to be a huge fan of Billy Joe, but I think he peaked about 3 years ago and he's done nothing since. You look at he fought Martin Murray recently. I think people see Billy Joe through rose-tinted glasses because of the David Lemieux fight. I think people need to remember that was in 2017 and it was 160 pounds, sorry. So it was a weight class below. And since then, Canelo's only done that. Canelo is at his peak right now, and as I've said, forget about stopping Canelo. Can anything even slow him down? He just seems to be on this one-way course to just get through people. You put someone in front of him, he gets past. So it'll be, but still, despite that being said, it will be very interesting to see what Billy Joe brings to the table. It really will be, because he's like this enigma at 168 pounds. People don't really know what he's capable of, but we've seen glimpses of it, like I said, in the Lemieux fight, but that was then, this is now. Also, what I loved was the post-fight interview with Canelo when he had those Jake Paul fans messing around behind him. He just turns around and goes, "Oi, out." I love that because, yeah, that whole YouTuber getting involved with boxing thing, I don't like that at all, because boxing is a professional sport. It shouldn't, and it's a dangerous sport as well. It shouldn't be, kind of have the mickey taken out of it. So, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what Billy Joe, like I said, brings to the table. This is boxing after all. Anything can happen. And as I said, I am really excited for that one, and I will be doing a preview and I'll be watching it for sure. So I will see you next time, peeps. Enjoy the sunshine. Have a great week, and peace.